At its core, Rocket League is a simple, physics-based, car soccer video game. While Rocket League is available for all major platforms, the PC users specifically have a thriving community of custom map creators, and one of the most popular types of custom maps is ring maps. Ring maps are great for training aerial car control, and for the speedrunning community, 6 ring maps have really stood out as the most popular. For 5 of these maps, the world record speedrun beats out second place by anywhere from 6 seconds to even just a frame or two. With that in mind, how is it that even though Lethamir's Giant Rings is the most downloaded ring map, its leaderboard looks like this? You're seeing that correctly. There's 1 minute and 28 seconds separating first place from second place. Well, to explain it, I have to tell you about Draco and his journey to perfection. Take a trip back in time with me. The date is October 18th, 2020, and Cuddly Bob, also known as C-Bob, just set a world record of 11 minutes and 24 seconds.
Let's go.
In this clip you see an 11:21. This is because the in-game timer can actually be off by just a little bit, so alternate timing methods are used for verification. This run was nothing to scoff at, as it finally beat the previous record of 11:28, which had been held by a player named Cowcore for over 6 months. Let me explain. In Rocket League, top speed is referred to as supersonic, and it is indicated by these speed lines appearing on screen. It's typically best to maintain supersonic for as much time as possible during any speedrun. In ring maps, this poses a problem though, because controlling sharper turns while supersonic is often impossible. If at any point you gather too much speed, you risk hitting a ring, which at best results in a slow recovery, and at worst causes you to reset the level due to the death zones outside of the rings. Because of this, it is very important to learn the entire map to find the fastest controllable speed for each section. C-Bob took all of this into account, maintaining supersonic in many spots and keeping a high average speed throughout the entire run. He took awkward flying angles rather than the slower, safer angles, and by driving off of ledges rather than jumping off of them, he maintained his second jump so that he could use his flip for quick directional adjustments without losing speed. All of this being said, why does C-Bob's description of his run read like this? I finally beat the world record. I messed up a lot and still got it, so that shows that a lot of improvement and innovation can still come from this map. Well, his run was not without mistakes. On a few occasions he had to recover from hitting a ring, each one costing usually a second or two here and there. He also did have one death in level 11, which cost him about 7 seconds because the death was early on. Regardless, the map is so long that for the average person, it's nearly impossible to quickly complete the entire run without a single death or mistake. But Draco's not the average person. He's an animal. He saw C-Bob's run and knew that with some serious attempts, he could claim the record for himself. He had already run the map casually in his free time some, so he knew what he was getting into. All he had to do was get a deathless run, and the record was his. Easy, right? I'm joking, but seemingly for Draco, yeah, easy. According to Draco, within 20 serious attempts, he had already pushed the record down to an 11:19. Throughout the majority of the run, Draco was actually a little slower than C-Bob, but by completing the run without making any real mistakes, Draco's safer strategies had paid off. While he had achieved the record, Draco wasn't happy only barely edging out C-Bob's run. He wanted a mistakeless run without playing it safe. 2 weeks later, Draco had already lowered his record down to 10:53, breaking the 11-minute barrier and smashing his old record. Another 2 weeks after that, Draco once again pushed the record down to 10:29. Both of these records were obtained strictly through better flying. He took more narrow lines and preserved momentum nearly perfectly. At this point, Draco began to fantasize about the possibility of a sub 10-minute run. But PBs weren't going to be coming bi-weekly anymore. No, the run was much too optimized for that to be possible. So Draco began labbing out some new strategies. See, most speedrunners can be put into one of two categories: pioneer or perfectionist. Those that invent the run, and those that aim to flawlessly master the run. It's very rare that one person encapsulates the spirit of both, and up until this point, Draco had clearly solidified himself in the perfectionist category. But soon, he would also solidify himself as a pioneer. The first major change Draco made was to level 4. He realized that instead of making a slow adjustment, he could use one of the rings to bounce back, making a 180-degree turn a little quicker. This also allowed him to hold his flip, which he uses toward the end of the level. This method is very mechanically difficult, and to top it off, it only saves about 1 second. But that was the level Draco was willing to go to for a sub 10. And on February 4th, 2021, Draco got his sum of best under 10 minutes, proving that the sub 10 is possible. And just 6 days later, he hit the new trick in a very solid run. The trick, combined with further consistency, allowed Draco to clock in at 10:14.
Yes!
A great time to be sure,
Finally!
but to Draco, not good enough. The description reads, 600 attempts after my last world record, I finally got a new run with the ring bounce on level 4. Losing faith in sub 10, but it is still possible to do, and I'll try my best to make it happen. Next, Draco discovered a trick on level 7. A trick all too familiar. Another ring bounce, allowing him to maintain speed rather than slowing down. He also took a page out of Seabob's book, maintaining his flip for level 8. And on September 13th, 7 months after his last world record, his new tricks netted him a 10:04, seconds away from his goal. To make matters worse, he only missed his goal due to one minor error on level 17. But this did give him newfound drive for the sub 10. From here, Draco worked on consistency as well as maintaining his speed for as long as possible in every place possible. And yet again, only 2 weeks after his 10:04, he got this run. His level 4, perfect. Level 7, perfect. Level 8, perfect. These combined with insane momentum preservation and the fact that he didn't make a single mistake finally allowed Draco to finish his run with a time of 10:02. This was all he had to say. Regardless of that description, he did make it clear in the comments that he was not stopping until he reached his goal. And on October 13th, he did this. Just as before, every trick was perfect. But this time, he wasn't letting fear of mistakes get in his way. Every precarious turn that would be all too easy to take just slightly wide, he took narrow. Sure, this would lead to more resets, but in the end, it was the only way to reach his final goal. And on that day, Draco finished with a time of 9 minutes and 56 seconds. The thumbnail for this video says unbeatable. Not because I believe that the run is unbeatable, but instead because I believe that Draco is unbeatable. Constantly improving yourself is the essence of speedrunning. And to me, Draco embodies speedrunning. First, perfecting his initial strategies before making any changes. And then coming so close to his goal, only to be seconds away on multiple occasions. Until finally making the push to reach the ultimate sub 10 goal. This final run was only possible due to Draco's consistency and innovation, paired with his dedication and drive, and that is why he will forever be cemented into Rocket League speedrun history. If you enjoyed this video, give Draco's YouTube a peek. As you've seen, his determination to run this game is insane. The links are down below. Also, I heard you weren't subscribed to me or Draco? And what's that about? I have ideas on some other members of the community to highlight in the future, but in the meantime, you may enjoy watching Rocket League featured at AGDQ last week. I'll leave a link to that down below as well. It features Jamingo, Blocku, Thundersurge, and myself as runners, as well as Leafex, Plamedo, and Iggy Zig on commentary. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.